Why did the vote count stop and all that stuff? Like what, like early morning?
Like I just told you, waiting for...
Donald Trump led half the country to believe that the election was stolen, and as a result of that, 7 people are now dead. If you believe that the election was stolen, I have some compelling evidence that you should take a look at. This is not some random affidavits filled out by anonymous people online to a website, which Trump's attorneys admitted was spam in court, something you would not know if you watched conservative media. I know this because I actually followed the cases. The reality is the Republican Party knows that the election was not stolen. They've been lying to their voters, and so was Trump. But don't listen to me. Listen to a Republican, Senator Mike Shirkey, on hidden camera, admitting the truth.
How about a coronavirus handshake?
You bet. I'm safe now. I'm harmless.
Supposedly. You mean you've had it?
Yeah.
Have you really?
Yeah.
Very badly?
No.
Just some
like
light symptoms?
Like the flu.
Yep.
Really?
Real similar.
Well, it's an awful thing we've had to go through. And then the election sure didn't top it off where we wanted it to go either. So
Thank
nice
you.
talking with you.
Yeah, you too.
You think John James got his election stolen too?
In Michigan?
Oh wait, because you weren't like big proponent of that. I mean, do you think there was election fraud?
Well, there's definitely election fraud, but not enough to change the election.
No. You think it was a small amount or something?
Well, it's typical.
Just the normal?
Probably 15,000 votes.
What do you think? Why do you think there's so much hype on it then?
The reality is, John, that we weren't ready for the onslaught of early and mail-in votes, and they were just big boluses of absentee ballots that couldn't be processed in time because I wouldn't allow them to process them early.
Okay.
And that ended up being all those big interjections on election night and into the next day. But Trump lost Michigan and Kent County and Oakland County. He didn't even lose it in Wayne County. He got actually more votes on a percentage basis in Wayne County than he got in 2016.
Oh, thank you. I did see Kent when I drove through Kent County. It was, anti-Trump, big time.
Do you want mayo on the side?
Yes, please. Thank
Same
you.
with Oakland County.
Really?
So there were 113,000 more votes for president in Wayne County in 20 than there was in 16. 113,000.
Wow.
And Trump got 40,000 of them.
Thank you.
He only got about average of 9% in the standard population. He got 32% in the overcount.
So Giuliani couldn't bring enough information to like evidence or anything like that.
Giuliani was so unorganized in his presentation.
Really?
What are you guys doing?
What about like the poll watchers that were testifying and stuff like that? There was 200 affidavits or whatever. That's quite a bit of affidavits, isn't it?
Yeah, it's quite a few observations. That's what an affidavit is.
Right.
I looked into most of them. They were either misunderstandings of what they actually saw.
Okay.
So there were some of them that were inappropriate. The biggest problem was that everybody that was working there was undertrained. And they were all asking questions and doing things that just escalated the emotion.
Uh-huh.
Trump very well could have gotten these elections stolen in Georgia, Pennsylvania, Nevada, and maybe even Arizona, but not Michigan.
Now, do you think Dominion was in on this, or is that not? You don't think that was it?
Dominion is, they're listen. The thing that everybody likes to talk about in Antrim County, with that big 6,000 vote change.
Yeah.
Okay? That exact same thing happened in Oakland County. But it was heart machines, not vending machines. What did you hear about that?
Well, actually, remember at the meeting when Marnie talked about those machines too.
Yeah.
She said that's why they didn't want to use the heart machines either, actually, because there was that same concern with different kinds of machines. Yeah, with Dominion, and that's why
Heart,
Hillsdale did.
Dominion, and ES&S are the 3 different primary manufacturers in the nation.
So, in Marnie's professional opinion, she's been a clerk for a while.
Yeah.
She says there's election fraud in Michigan.
I think I just said that too.
But she thinks that Trump that it was stolen. Like, obviously, you think there was fraud, but not enough to overturn. She thinks there was heavy fraud.
Yeah. It would have had to have been 80,000 votes for fraud. Okay, another piece of data. Kent County.
Okay.
So Trump lost by 54,000 votes in Kent County, and every other race was won by a Republican. That's just proof that people just split their vote because they were voting for Biden, they were voting against Trump.
Right. Yeah, that's wild.
Similar thing happened in Oakland, not quite as dramatic. It's like we did lose a few House seats.
So why did the votes count stop and all that stuff? Like what, like early morning?
Like I just told you, waiting for the deliveries from our county of absentee ballots.
Oh, really? Because I know, I remember that too, that everybody's going to bed. And
It's a mess.
yeah. So,
In September, I met with the bipartisan group, big group, 26 girls, and they were begging to have the law changed to allow them to pre-count.
The critical detail you have to understand is that you cannot trust politicians, Democrats or Republicans. Both parties play their voters against each other. This is a master plan. If I'm a Democrat and I focus your attention on how evil the Republicans are, you won't notice how bad I am. It serves as a distraction. It serves as cover for my corruption. I can rob you blind. I can not deliver on my promises to you and get away with it because you are too busy focusing on the Republican Party. As a Republican senator, I can do the same thing. I can keep complaining about the left, the Democrats, they're going to destroy this country. And while you're distracted thinking about the Democrats, you won't see me bleeding you dry. You won't see me doing favors for the elites, my donors. You'll see some of the things I do. But as long as I can keep your attention mainly on the other party, what matters most will always work in my favor. When it comes time to vote, you're going to have tons of memories of how evil the other party is, from watching conservative media and from listening to me and my colleagues as a Republican senator. So you have years of smearing of the other party, and you don't have that much information about my party because I've been distracting you. I've been playing with your emotions, and it's worked very well. So even if you picked up on a couple of things compared to dozens and dozens and hundreds even of negative things about the alternative party, it seems like voting for me is a safe bet. At least that's the plan. Same thing with the Democrats. Vote for us, we're going to get you $2,000 checks immediately, right? You vote for them, you don't get your checks, but do you rise up? Do you put pressure? Am I going to lose power? Are you going to vote me out? No, because once I'm in power, I'm going to focus your attention on the Republicans, how evil they are, they're obstructionists, blah, blah, blah. And you're going to spend so much time watching liberal media telling you about how the right is so evil and listening to me telling you about how they're so evil. And you're going to be listening to this brainwashing propaganda for 4 years. Then come next election time, it's going to be a simple choice. You may not like me or my colleagues, but you have tons of negative information about the other party. Not so much about me because you haven't really been looking at me. That's the game that gets played. So you can't trust politicians. You can't look at what they say in public. This is a private meeting. This is a recording taken in secret. This is an opportunity to see the truth. No theatrics, no pandering. This is a private conversation where you can see what the truth is. You would see much more of this if our country wasn't so partisan, because we have an excellent team called Project Veritas. Ironically, I call them excellent while I've called them out so many times and they disgust me so much. But the only problem I have with them is they're partisan and therefore propaganda. If they were real journalists like their audience believes they are, they would be doing so many expose pieces just like this. Can you imagine how much truth we could find out about the Republican Party? How many people's eyes could be opened up? But unfortunately, that'll never happen. Not with Project Veritas, because they're a propaganda news source funded by Republicans. It would be bad for business for them to be real journalists. Anyway, if you believe the election was stolen, you've just heard how the Republican politicians really feel. Stop letting them manipulate you and fool you. It's time to realize the truth. Politicians work for us. They're not our friends. They're not good people. We pay their salaries. They work for us. Stop paying so much attention to the opposition party and start paying attention to the people you voted for. Start realizing the truth about what's really going on. Recognize that much of your ideas and thoughts and beliefs about politics in this country are based on propaganda. The politicians lie and they put on theater. And this is amplified by the media on their side. Liberal media amplifies the deception of the Democrats. Conservative media amplifies the deception of the Republicans. The only us versus them is we, the people, versus the elites, of which I include the media. Even those YouTubers. Do you realize that some of these guys are millionaires? And even if they're not millionaires, they're making $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 a year, making videos in their basement, able to live anywhere in the country. Sounds like elite, doesn't it? They're not like you and I. We've got to work a job, right? We can't just work anywhere we want to. We are affected by the content that the media puts out, these YouTubers and corporate media as well. They affect how people think, which affects how people vote, which affects how our government runs. And then we, the people, we pay the price. Whether you're conservative or liberal, we are the ones paying the price. It's us versus them, the elites, media, politicians, and the 1%. And the elite obviously covers all of them. I would like to see 60% of the American people leave the parties that they're registered to. Majority of this country should be independent. We need to pull the cord. These parties need to do their jobs. Again, stop focusing on the opposition party. Focus on the ones you voted for. Realize they're lying to you. Force them to do their jobs.